welcome to the DNVR Scoop. I'm your host, Phillip Dukes, aka Dukes D Scoop. Check me out on Twitter and Instagram at Dukes D Scoop. And make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, DNVR Buffs and DNVR Sports. Check it all out. All city or nothing. All right, let's roll. All right, so this week we're going to talk a little recruiting. All right, so London Mayer decommits from the Ohio State University, and now all eyes are on Colorado. Rightfully so. You see the pundits putting out crystal balls. I've been hearing about London and his family's interest in Colorado for a long time, and now I think the chickens have come home to roost. I think this thing happens sooner than later. I don't know how soon, but I feel like soon. And I feel like soon, these are my soon guys. And I know there's not like a lot of time before signing day, but this week, early next week, somewhere, you'll see this happen, in my opinion. London is one of those guys who was always highly rated. He's basically 6'2", 6'3", I would say about 6'3", 6'2 and a half, somewhere in there. All the tools that you want. Really explosive athlete, gets after the quarterback, has a good strong arm, long arm move, and at that height, you usually don't see guys who are able to long arm guys, but he definitely can. A nice club move. I think where he is right now, he's physically developed at a rate that he can help you next year. He bends the edge really well, and he's somebody who another kid from Atlanta who's going to help you set up that Atlanta pipeline. He's really familiar with Julian Lewis. Their families definitely talk. So I think if this comes to fruition, this will be a huge get for the Buffs. I also want to talk about Alexander McPherson, 6'6", out of IMG Academy as well. This is one that I think that when you talk about a body on a high schooler, good gracious, man. He's one of those guys who you ask to check the birth certificate. Previously, I've compared him to Kyle Vanden Bosch, maybe even a Jared Allen. I mean, when you think about his motor and not particularly being the fastest guy, but being somebody who's going to consistently get there, but fast enough, great short area bursts. Think of other guys of that same ilk who may not just be the burner at the edge, but they set the edge well. And I think he's one of those guys. Also, when you look at he's committed to Oklahoma State, this is a big game. I think he's somebody who can come into the fold. I think when you hear Coach Prime talk about guys who can come in and compete early, he's another one. He actually led IMG in sacks, as we've talked about before. And I just think that as a fit, right, as being a hard worker, somebody who's dedicated to their craft, somebody who takes the weight room seriously, somebody who has high potential, but more so the potential, his floor is high. You can literally just see this guy walk down the street and be like, ball player. And I think that's exactly what you want on this defensive line when you're sending body after body as a guy. And I think he can be a depth piece year one. So I think it'll be another good get that I think could happen soon. And another guy I think that they have on the hook, the Buffaloes do, it'd be Quentin Gibson out of North Crowley in Texas. Man, you talk about electric, about 5'9", maybe 165. You could not touch that kid in a phone booth. Probably the most exciting highlight film I've seen this year. I think that when you look at what they did to DeSoto, the powerhouse, where he basically beat him by himself, like, I mean, the yards, the stats are crazy. Go follow him. Quentin Gibson, find him. Go look at this tape. Do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Go look at him. When you talk about a slot receiver or someone who can put on the perimeter, when I'm watching his highlights, I see what he does in space. They throw the bubble screen. You can't touch him. He turns something into nothing on a regular basis. But I'm also looking at the one-handed catches that he's making on the post routes against taller defenders, where you can just see him literally separate. Track speed, quickness. He's quick as a guy, as a smaller guy who doesn't have the elite speed. He's that quick, but he just has elite speed too. And I think that's so important. I think for a guy who can juke you then outrun you, it makes a huge difference. So I think that Colorado, those three are the ones that I'm expecting to that I think they have the best shot with. that would possibly commit before signing day as early as this weekend. I would think that these three have a really good chance of getting into the fold, and it just only adds to the class that Colorado was building, where they don't have to take a ton of kids at the high school ranks because Colorado's going to go crazy in the portal. And a lot of people aren't talking about Carday Smith. He's kind of the forgotten man right now, but I still think Carday Smith will be in the fold. I'll talk about that a little more this week. So this is your holiday primer. We're on the short week, but I just wanted to get you primed for before I get out of here, there are at least two guys that are really big recruits that could pop up in Colorado. I know there are talks. I don't want to say no names. I don't want this stuff to, go everywhere, but definitely heard some conversations of two potential guys that could quite possibly be on campus this weekend. If it doesn't happen, no harm, no foul. I'm just saying, I would. It's hard to say if it's going to happen, but I know the conversations are happening. So I think that Colorado's recruiting team is doing a great job. With those three guys I talked about, I feel really confident in the fact that I think they'll be in the fold sooner than later. All right, man, that's my time. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Dukes the Scoop. DNVR Buffs, the DNVR Scoop. We out.